What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. This is Blinkers Off. What's up, my man?
Hello.
We're back.
We're back.
Back together. All's right in the world.
That's right. That's right. It is. I feel like everything is great.
Well, it should be because we've been drinking all day. So
it's true. And
day
Philly's
drinking.
Like it fast and dry.
What's up, everybody?
Hashtag that.
You're in for a doozy. If you're tuning in live, you are going to get it's uncussed money, but you're gonna get your money's worth on this one. Yeah, go buy the shirt, racingdudes.com. There you go. And then
it's not fucking for sale, so you can't
let us know,
it.
and we will let you. Yeah, we're live right now.
We have more shirts.
Yeah, we
like
do.
This? Oh,
we
great.
We'll give them to you for free. We are live right now on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. So thank you for tuning in. If you're live, if you're listening after the fact, what the hell are you doing? Listen to us live. We are 1 week away. That's right. It seems weird. It's a weird world you live in whenever you're watching Week 2 NFL games and you see commercials for the Masters and you also see commercials for the Preakness. It's like, what happened? Well, if you just woke up, you're like, what the hell happened? And that's the world we live in right now.
If you just woke up, go back to sleep.
No shit. The Preakness is like 1 week away. And that's right. The final leg, we finally put a bow. By the way, you're about to win the fantasy league right here.
Yeah. Somehow.
Authentic pulls one out of his ass and wins the Derby, and of course puts you in the driver's seat. Now
Tizalaw's not going.
Not running the Preakness.
Good job. Good call. Good call.
It is a good call. To be fair, going to the training up to the Classic makes sense. A horse that does best.
Well, I mean, now horse of the year and 3 of the years for the Classic, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Especially if Authentic goes on and wins the Preakness, and all of a sudden,
if Authentic wins the Preakness, he enters the Classic as the 3-year-old of the year, and then Tizalaw, it's his job to beat him.
Yeah. So yeah, lots on the line. Obviously, as we get close, we have a huge week in this podcast.
It's a big one.
We do have Preakness to talk about next week. We will talk a little bit about what's coming up and kind of who's aiming for that race, but 8 Breeders' Cup winning your in races this weekend. 1 at Belmont, the other 7 on Saturday and Sunday at Santa Anita. Santa Anita's back. And it's, and then it's the last week of racing for September, which is kind of wild to think about for Breeders' Cup races. And we move into October, the last final month of, the final push of Breeders' Cup winner in races as we lead up to the Breeders' Cup. It doesn't seem real that we're that close, but we are in the final push here of Breeders' Cup races. And you know that we're getting close when you start having these massive days all at once.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy right now to think that it's almost October. And it seemed like March was only a couple of days ago, so it's kind of strange. But the
whole year seems that way.
Oh, it really does. It's flown by. But man, you got this week, next week, and the next week, and then the Breeders' Cup prep races are over. And I thought that was really crazy when I was looking at the schedule last night. It's like, holy shit! We got 3 weeks of Breeders' Cup prep races.
Yep,
that's amazing. So yeah, it's exciting. And I think you said it maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. So give credit to you, but. It kind of feels like this but this Breeders' Cup feels like it's going to be pretty ridiculous, right? Like as it stands right now, the Classic seems wow.
Yeah,
and then the distaff.
Yep.
Also, so everything else will fill out really well as well. So yeah, a lot to talk about. And man, Breeders' Cup 8 Breeders' Cup winning in races is going to be a lot of fun this weekend.
It definitely feels
also like Oklahoma Derby's this weekend. Let's not forget about that. We're not even going to cover it.
We could give some picks at the end if you want.
We're going to.
Sunday, right?
Oh, yeah.
Are you going?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, he'll be there. Of course, Remington Park doesn't care, and they're having fans there. So
hell yeah, we're not. I think you got to wear masks. Yeah, but I'm taking mine off as soon as we get in.
Oh wow!
Because you can't drink Miller Lite and have a mask on.
The rule is if you're drinking or eating, I think you can have the mask off. So as long as you have a beer in hand at all times, you'll be safe.
We're doing it.
I think Evil Steve was going to join you as well. So.
Is Evil going?
I think he might.
I think he's sketchy about it. Evil told me once he's going and he didn't show up.
Let me just say this about Evil.
Okay.
I've heard a little bit of a tidbit of what might happen to him.
Jared,
I'm not saying anything. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'm just gonna say it's awesome. So good luck to him.
Jared.
That's all I know.
I have a plan, but I don't want to release that plan until I win.
I'm not releasing anything. I'm just saying I've heard some rumors of what his penalty might be.
It's great.
And all I know,
if Magic is listening, I think Samich, there's no telling, but please don't win the Preakness so I can do this.
Rick James
wants to know. There's Rick James.
He's got the picture of the match. Better chance of winning this weekend, Sleepy Eyes Todd or the Washington football team. So,
well, Washington football team probably would be the answer to that.
We'll talk about Sleepy Eyes Todd in a little bit. Trust me. We got plenty to talk about with the Awesome again. Against the two Baffert.
Yeah. Magic says, why can't we share the title and the punishment plan? Because there can only be one, Magic.
You know,
it's either you or me.
I told him at today while we were at our business meeting.
And it was productive.
I told him, I was like, it's probably, as much as this is a funny plan, the best thing to happen to Evil Stevel and Austin was the fact that Authentic won. Because as bad as your plan is, and as funny as your plan is for us, I have an idea of the demonic minds of specifically Magic, what that would have been.
Bad.
Trust us.
Oh God, it'd be the worst.
Authentic winning was the best thing to ever happen to those guys. But yeah, we will talk about 8 Breeders' Cup win-in races coming up this weekend. Huge handicapping podcast coming, but before we do, we have a little bit we're starting to establish somewhat of what this Preakness field is going to look like. Obviously, we mentioned a second ago, Tiz the Law not going to run, going to just point up to the Breeders' Cup, which probably makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
But the field itself is, it's kind of funny. You lose him, and now all of a sudden, Swiss Skydiver is back in the mix. So Swiss Skydiver might be running the Preakness now. Of course, runner-up in the Kentucky Oaks. Art Collector, of course, going to run in this race. Authentic, your Derby winner, Mr. Big News, who finished 3rd in the Derby. I mentioned Swiss Skydiver. Max Player, a horse, interesting enough, is going to have ran in all. I call it 4 legs. You do too.
Oh no, me too.
All 4 legs of the Triple Crown, including the Travers there. NY Traffic, Country Grammar, Mystic Guide, 1,000 Words, Pneumatic, Accession, Jesus Team, Necker Island, Live Your Beast Life, and Happy Saver are all who's up for contention. But 1,000 Words, Pneumatic, Swiss Skydiver, Authentic, Art Collector, that makes the field pretty damn good. I
think it's a good field, even with Tiz the Law. I stated earlier in one of our shows that I thought it was going to be better than the Derby when Tiz the Law was pointing for it. And now that he's out, obviously it's not going to be better than the Derby, but it's still going to be a good field. And you're right. And here's the deal. If you didn't like Authentic before the Derby, then there's reasonable horses to play against him here, right? Because it's like, well, maybe that Derby was a little bit of a fluke. Well, hell, you got Art Collector, you got Swiss Skydiver. I mean, you got horses that can potentially beat him, especially if you analyze this race a week from today and you say, damn, that pace looks hot. Damn, Authentic's going to have some pressure. There's horses that you could pick to mow him down for sure. So I think that's good. It's going to be a good race. We'll see. We'll see who actually enters and how everything shakes out. A week from, I guess Monday. We'll know next this coming Monday.
Yep.
What's going to happen? They're going to draw on Monday, so we'll know.
And of course, check out the website at racejuice.com. On the products page, we got the pre-sale already started for the Preakness wager guide. And don't forget, the Preakness is actually a win in your end for the Classic. Preakness. And Warriors Charge, by the way, running this weekend. At Churchill.
The original Preakness race.
The Preakness, where it all began.
Yeah.
Preakness going to run the Preakness. He did run the Preakness, and he's going to run this weekend anyways. It's a win you're in. So, of course, we have the win you're in this weekend. Yeah. Awesome again with Maximum Security Improbable. But we also have a win you're in. Of course, Authentic's already in with this Haskell win. Yeah. But you've got plenty of horses in here that could surely use a win you're in berth into the Classic. And, considering what we're dealing with right now, might mix things up in the Classic.
I have a great idea.
Okay.
So Authentic is already in because of the Haskell win. So if he wins the Preakness, that $10,000 entry fee, that should go to all the My Racehorse owners.
Right? But they would, but then they already owe so much other money that they still have to pay that off. They don't even put a dent in it. So.
We had somebody mad at us for that comment. That we're just having fun. It's on Twitter. You didn't see it, but listen, we're having fun with that. We have no problem with My Racehorse. I told the guy on Twitter, I said, we liked My Racehorse before it was cool to like My Racehorse. Yeah. So don't even start with that.
First of all, this is breaking news to me because I did not know that people had an issue with that. But that is funny.
I think it was.
Was it the fact that Millie had ownership in it?
Yeah. He was really pissed by your comments.
Yeah. Oh, Millie. You know what?
But listen, again, he was just kidding around. I think it was Taxi Dave from Twitter. He was just kidding around. And we are kidding around. We like My Racehorse. Yeah. Hell, Magic owns every horse but Authentic in My Racehorse.
Of course, the one horse that wins.
Yeah, the one horse that wins the Derby, Magic doesn't have it. So.
The first horse to ever win for My Racehorse, and Magic doesn't own. So what does that tell you, Magic? But no, just kidding. Of course. I don't care. Like it was a joke.
It was a joke. Yeah, it was totally a joke.
To say that you have ownership in a Derby winner is something very cool.
Absolutely.
And I'm never going to say otherwise. But for all to say though, I don't necessarily that's not something that interests me. Like I don't.
You want to have a big piece.
I would rather have a horse that is me and a couple friends or whatever pay $100,000 for. That may or may not make it to the Derby,
right?
Versus a horse that you're kind of buying in at the last second that you get nothing out of, but you can just basically say you had it.
But you do acknowledge that it's cool.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Millie won't stop talking about it. So,
I tried Taxi Dave. He won't do it. I think it's awesome.
She walks around this house like she owns the damn place.
This guy doesn't give a shit, but I think it's awesome.
No. Okay, so anyways, what are you?
Let's turn.
Do you think? We know Bob Baffert's record. In the Preakness, obviously he's going to run 1,000 words who flipped out literally in the paddock, and then Authentic. Do you think if he runs them, he's a very tough, especially now with Tiz Law out.
Well, my good friend Ryan Stillman and your good friend Ryan Stillman has told me maybe 20 times that Bob Baffert has never lost a Preakness with a horse that won the Kentucky Derby. That's a pretty good stat, especially when you look at all the horses that that have come out on that line. So I think Authentic is the one to beat,
especially considering he was like not even done running on the track, and Bob Baffert was already like, "Yeah, we're gonna run the Preakness."
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like Tiz the Law, soon after the race, like, "Yeah, we're not doing. I don't know, we're not doing that. We'll see." And his owners were like, "Yeah, we're going," but the trainer was like, "Yeah, we'll see." And you're right. As soon as Authentic crossed the wire, he's like, "All right, on to Baltimore."
Yeah,
he's pretty confident he's going to run well. So yeah, he's the pick right now. But listen, say Authentic draws the rail, there's more speed, he gets pressured. Yeah, sure, we could come up with ways. But as of right now, just looking at the field and looking, okay, who's the most talented runner in the race? It's Authentic.
All right,
that could change.
What's the best? Well, hey, we'll talk more about. Obviously, next week, be all about the Preakness.
Yeah.
On the website, racejuice.com. We got tons of articles. But, of course, we'll be all about it on the podcast. Yeah, Ryan Stillman says facts. It is true. What's the best thing to sell today?
Well, it wasn't today, but it was Monday. The boobs at Magic Mike were trying to talk about Kyler Murray to me because I was watching the race. Or I was watching their feed. I'm like, yeah, you're going to talk to me about Kyler Murray. What a joke. Listen.
Talk about liking somebody before it was cool.
The best thing I saw today was Kyler Murray is having a tremendous start to the NFL season. Now, will it last? I think it will. But will he win MVP? I'm not sure. I'm not sitting here saying he's better than your guy. He's not. But I think Kyler Murray is an absolutely tremendous quarterback. And I promised Magic on Monday that I would tell you the second I knew that Kyler Murray was the best college football player I had seen live and in person. Okay. And I didn't see Mahomes live and in person, just so you know. The year he had his great year, they played on the road. Oh, you played at Texas Tech, and I wasn't there. So I don't want to offend you in any way. But listen,
okay.
Kyler Murray played an absolutely horrific game against Texas the first time they played him. He went on. They won the Big 12 and they faced Texas in the Big 12 championship game, and he played tremendous. He got his revenge. But the first time they played him, Kyler Murray was absolutely horrific. He was horrible in the game until the fourth quarter. So it's 45-31. Okay, and Kyler and OU get the ball back with five minutes to go in the game. And I was sitting by an older gentleman, and he said, "What do you think we have to do to win the game?" And I said, "Well, we have to score in a minute because we had one timeout left." And OU's defense was absolutely pathetic, right? So I said, "We have to score in a minute." Well, long story short, it took 13 seconds for OU to score and make it 45-38.
I remember this play.
And the reason why is because Kyler Murray made the greatest run I've ever seen, ever in a game where I was attending. So Kyler Murray, they ran a quarterback draw. They were at the 33-yard line, their own 33. So they're 67 yards away from a touchdown, okay? And they run a draw. With 5:54 left in the game, we have to score in a minute. And they ran a quarterback draw, which is a terrible call if you didn't have Kyler Murray. So they run a draw, and Kyler, he's got about 8 yards, and he's going towards the sideline. And me and this older guy are like, "Yeah, all right, Kyler, good job. Get out of bounds. Get out of bounds. We got to save time." And he's jogging towards the out-of-bounds line, and all of a sudden he cuts up the field, and he goes 67 yards for a touchdown. It took him 12 seconds to score. And I looked at the old guy next to me, and I said, "I think 12 seconds is enough time for us to maybe get the ball back." It was one of the best runs I've ever seen because there was like 4 guys coming in on him. He's coming out of bounds. It's like, okay, you're going to jog out of bounds. It's a good quarterback scramble. Cuts right up the field and goes for a touchdown. That's the second I knew that Kyler Murray was one of the best college players, well, the best that I've ever seen.
That'd be a good time to put in the clip right now. Yeah, see, there you go.
And Gus Johnson says, "Look at the speed." That's what you'll hear just for everybody. So, yeah, it was unbelievable. I wish it was 12 seconds. How long? Go ahead, Jared. What's the best thing you saw?
I wish 12 seconds. Magic says, "I wish 12 seconds was as long as it took to tell that story." Oh, man.
But listen, the bottom line of the story was,
how about this?
It's no surprise. It's no surprise Kyler Murray's doing this. Well, the thing about Kyler, he is known as the best high school football player ever out of the state of Texas. And if you know all the great players that come out of Texas, that's a huge deal.
That's pretty unreal, yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, and you, of course, have rubbed off on me as far as liking Kyler, and I'm, kind of as bad as Arkansas has been the last several years,
you have no team yet.
I've kind of evolved into an OU fan with you, and
I feel sorry for you.
And Kyler, I have the Chiefs, it's fine. And and Kyler, I've really grown into, and I had him last year. I remember in fantasy, and I was like, you could tell there was more there than just some kind of what do you call it, like almost like a guy that's just going to be 1 year wonder kind of thing. That just kind of get the legs, and then he's got the arm talent, of course, and he's also got the legs, and the big thing is too this year you're seeing is he's got a coach that is second year kind of new coach, is not afraid with Kingsbury, is not afraid to kind of get creative with him and use him. Yeah, and then also you've got a future Hall of Famer, Pro Bowler, wide receiver, Hopkins, who really, other than the a little bit in week 1, have not really evolved into being like that combo. So I think that he's a real deal.
He's great.
And, Mahomes is what he is, but statistically speaking, there's no comparison right now.
He's not as good as Mahomes, but the thing that he has, athletic ability, he's probably better than Mahomes, but as far as being an overall quarterback, he's not Mahomes, but nobody is, and nobody will be in the time that we do this podcast.
That's right. 2-0, baby. 2-0. Right. Hey, it took overtime and had 3 attempts at a field goal, but we won. So 2-0, big week. I have a bet with Ricky this
Ravens.
Weekend. The Ravens, big weekend.
Come on, Ravens. Hollywood Brown.
Shut up.
Mark Andrews, my boys from OU. Come on, Ravens.
Monday Night Football is going to be
Beat
awesome.
their ass, Ravens.
Shut the fuck up, man. God. Come on.
I promised Ricky I would do that.
Ricky, yeah, facts. I didn't press that, by the way. That was all magic, you little bastard. Anyways, best thing I saw. I was getting ready to be
nice. Ravens.
Getting ready to be nice to you too. That's the thing. Best thing I saw today was waking up and seeing a tweet that that you had, I think Blood Horse had tweeted it out, but you retweeted.
Sure.
And there's a Throwback Thursday of Curlin winning the Preakness, which obviously is a different time of the year, but this year it's not. And 2007 Preakness the tweet was, this horse started it all. Without Curlin, there would be no racing news, and it's true. I mean, you think about, and I think everyone that listens to this podcast has that horse. My horse is Zenyatta. Yeah. Your horse is Curlin. In our circumstances, it's a little different because we started a business and and changed the game, essentially as far as the coverage goes of racing. But for everyone that gets involved in racing, we all have that horse that we remember when we very first started. And for you, it was Curlin. Of course, that brought you back to the track, and that kept you talking, that kept you interested. You told me about the horse, and then I got a little interested, and then it just snowballed from there. And then the next big horse was Zenyatta, of course, and we got interested in Zenyatta, and the rest is history there. But it's just kind of neat to think. It got me thinking a little bit about all the horses throughout the years. And you talk about guys like Magic or Slim, who was prior to us even, or John White, the way back.
Turbulator.
The horses that you always think about when it comes to the game. And I think that's what makes horse racing different than anything else. I mean, I don't think we have that same kind of attitude when it comes to sports in general. We like our teams, and I remember the guys that got me interested when it comes to the Chiefs or you with OU.
Sure.
But it's different when it comes to horse racing because you get this weird connection with these horses, and that's part of the draw. You feel connected with these animals, and you kind of never lose that.
I think the animal aspect of it is a big thing. Like I love Baker Mayfield, I love Kyler Murray, but they're human beings, so it's kind of weird at the same time.
Or human being dickheads that are getting arrested for
they're
still humans,
right? Like Baker's getting arrested in Fayetteville in college. And, I don't know what Kyler's doing. He hasn't done anything.
Curlin never did that.
No, Curlin just likes to eat his food and win the Dubai World Cup and the British Classics. I think there's like an innocence about him, I guess, is probably the best way to put it, right? Curlin was one for me that changed everything. And I would say your horse Zenyatta fueled the passion.
Yep.
It's probably the best way for you. Obviously, it was the start of it. For me, it fueled that passion of this is the greatest sport there is, and these equine athletes are something different from what we followed for the last 20, 30 years of. Yeah, you like these guys, but sure, he's out smoking pot and this guy's getting drunk. And but it's like these horses, it's like there's just something pure about them, And Curlin was and Zenyatta as well. That was that for us, and so that kind of got it started. And Zenyatta, listen, as much as Curlin was an influence, Zenyatta, that's who's the logo on our website. So yeah.
I mean, that was and I'll never forget. Obviously, the first real Derby that I really focused on was the year Mind That Bird won.
Sure. Yeah.
Looking back.
Well, 2008 was the first time we went to a racetrack, and that was Win Willie. When Willie won the Rebel.
Old Fashioned and the Rebel. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the Arkansas Derby, and then went into which Papa Clem won the Arkansas Derby.
Yeah, over Old Fashioned.
That year over Old Fashioned. And then, of course, the Derby, which was one of the, biggest upsets of racing history and, most improbable things you'll ever see. And frankly, not to get into it, the three race combo of Mind That Bird running in all three legs of the Triple Crown is three of the greatest races you'll see ever when it comes to like what he kind of elevated his game to.
Yeah, considering
what he was running at. But anyways,
well, Dennis says for me it's Rachel Alexander, and you talk about Mind That Bird. We were in Seneca watching. Seneca is a place where you could go gamble right across the line in Oklahoma. And when Rachel Alexander beat Mind That Bird, I think that was another pivotal point for us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll never forget that Preakness either.
No.
And I also will never forget the year, like that same year when Zenyatta went on to win the Classic, the first filly to ever do it. And ever since, I'll never forget, we were in Vegas at Bally's.
Yeah, sure.
And, of course, betting on football all day and whatnot. And, of course, it's in the fall. And Halterman was like, there's this filly coming up here later today that she's never lost. She's facing against the boys in the biggest race in the country. And I was like, oh, that's, of course, again, remember that, we had just seen, we are both just into our first Triple Crown sort of experience, or at least mine. And you're like, okay, wow, this is cool. And then I'll never forget the Bally's was electric when this horse won. And we both had money on her at 5-2. And winning that race the way she did, you just seemed like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. And that really, to that day in it specifically, is what did it for me. That's when I got like, oh, this is
what awesome. We're going to do.
This is awesome. That was unreal. And of course, 2009 was a surreal year for her. And of course, following her, and of course, going to the Breeders' Cup, and the way she lost was brutal. But it just the buildup of that, if you weren't part of it, I would say it was even bigger than Pharaoh. It was different in regards. But hers was generally bigger because of being a filly and a mare, and you kind of had that aspect to it, not Triple Crown related. But no, that's what started for me. And I think we all have those horses. So seeing how something as simple as you liking a horse like Curlin, how it kind of springboard everything. I think that's what kind of says a lot about the game in general. So best thing I saw today, not to go on a huge rant there, but yeah, it's you look back at what we've accomplished and where we're at, considering a horse that we liked called Zenyatta. That's where it started.
It all starts.
Kind of cool. So.
It all starts with one horse. Yeah.
All right, there you go. Today's show, we will preview Saturday and Sunday's 8 Breeders' Cup. That's right. If you're into handicapping, this is your podcast. 8 Breeders' Cup Win Your In Challenge Series races at Santa Anita Park and Belmont Park, including the Awesome Again Stakes on Saturday at Santa Anita, featuring the 2 Bob Baffert horses, Max's Security and Improbable. Let's go.
We went on, but it was good.
There you go.
Right? Maybe.
It was about 27 minutes.
Probably too long for an intro.
Yeah, considering we have 8 races to talk about. But we have been drinking all day.
So we're rapid firing, so it's okay.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
So yeah, eight races, all Breeders' Cup winning your ends. That's what we're going to cover. Santa Anita's got the majority of them, almost all of them. The Vosburg at Belmont would be the one exception, right? The other 7 are at Santa Anita.
Yeah, we'll start off with Belmont. We're going to go right back or go to Santa Anita for the rest of them. So, we talked a little bit about this at our quote unquote lunch / liquid lunch, and it's you look at these horses in these 8 races, and kind of obviously the goal is right. What races do you take the most stock into when it comes to the prep for their prospective Breeders' Cup races? So we'll talk a little bit about that as far as how these preps stack up with, this is the final stages. We finally entered that stage of the final BC preps, which is kind of weird to say, but
it is definitely.
So we'll go with the Vosburg. Which obviously is a hit with Volatile being out. It just seems that's like talk about a horse that like was almost like a ghost the whole time. Was like good, but yet was never really. It was like never really looked like. I didn't really mean looked like one, but yeah, sure. But never really like exploded on the scene, but yet always had that like behind the horse, like was going to be that like it was the next Batoli. Kind of a shame, but
it is a shame. It is a shame. All the time with fast horses, that's what happens, though.
Can't keep them right. That's what I think when you have horses like that, it tells a lot about the horses that came before them that did. The horses like Matoli that continued running and stayed healthy and did what they were asked. So.
Matoli had his problems, but he did stay relatively healthy
for the most part. Yeah.
Had feet problems. Matoli did.
Everyone's picking the Jags, huh? We are almost kickoff.
Yeah, kickoff. We're doing it again. Whoa. The Jaguar just did a backflip. I don't know what he just did. That's crazy. All right. Let's do this.
That's dicey. Okay. Let's
thing about this Jags game is they're all Fitzpatrick's like, yeah, you can't grow a beard if you have a mustache. And Mitchell's like, I can grow a beard, So that's the story for this game.
Glad to see we're talking about what matters here.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Make sure everything's recording.
It is. It's doing it. Oh, gotta test it.
No, I just want
to just leave it. All right. Gotcha. Yeah, man, that's a good week.
3, 2, 1. All right, so this is like a combo of rapid fire / normal previews. We have 8 races to talk about, so we're going to have to rapid fire these at some point. One at Belmont, the rest are at San Antonio Park. We'll kick it off with Belmont. We'll go into Saturday and Sunday coverage. A vast variety of challenge races for the Breeders' Cup. Every one of these races we're talking about are Breeders' Cup winner-in races for their respective fields. So, I mean, it's going to be it's a good preview show in terms of getting ready for the Breeders' Cup. So we'll kick it off at Belmont Park on Saturday. Race 9, the Vosper Stakes Grade 2 with $150K for 3-year-olds and up. Going 6 furlongs as the Breeders' Cup winner-in for the sprint. Field of 6. Lines up for this one, 2-1 on the outside horse Engage, finally making his return. Volatile, obviously, from the Aspen barn, the big horse that would have been the favorite of this race. Unfortunately, injury, okay, but is retired. Kind of one of those horses like what could have been with that horse as a career, but is out. So now the second best, I guess, Engage, a horse that we haven't seen in quite some time, 2-1 favorite.
Yeah, this is kind of a disappointing race for a couple of reasons. Number one, we don't have Volatile, and that is disappointing because we love him. And number two, I was really hoping Engage would not be 2-1. So I handicapped this race before the morning line. Odds come out. I thought, well, maybe we'll get 4-1, 5-1 if we're lucky. 2-1, that's awful, right? But I did go ahead and pick Engage on top. Listen, I had this horse at 9-1 last year at Keeneland. When he won, I did not play him back in the Breeders' Cup sprint because I don't know that he's that kind of horse. But at 9-1 at Keeneland in the Phoenix, I loved him. And he probably should have lost, but Whitmore had a tough trip and he beat him. And that's just sometimes you get lucky. And then we kind of talked about at lunch. Sometimes you pick a horse and maybe that horse shouldn't have won, but you just kind of get lucky. And that's kind of what I got with Engage. But listen, when you look at this field, I think Engage is the best horse. And I think if he shows up with his top race, I just think he's kind of better than these. So I went with Engage on top.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's actually where I leaned as well. And you talk about that Phoenix where he won at 9-1. Guess who's back on board? Jose Ortiz.
Exactly.
Who rode him that day. I think that's a big sign. And by the way, he rode this horse most of his career. And now he's back. Of course, he rode him for Chad Brown. And then switched over to Asmussen, who went on to win a couple stakes, and of course the Phoenix being one of them. I think the one thing about it is Asmussen is so good with these older horses off layoffs, getting them ready. He's not going to run unless he's ready. And you talk about the sprinting division. He finished 4th in the Breeders' Cup. By the way, he lost to Matoli, he lost to Chancelot, and he lost to Whitmore. There's none of those 3 horses in this race. Not even close.
No.
So, I mean, if you say, well, he got 4th, it's like, yeah, that wasn't great. I mean, he would win. Any of those horses I would pick in this race.
Only beaten 4 lengths, too.
And he ran his career best number in that race as well. So, I think you got to be careful in the fact that, here he is. He's not going to run him unless he's healthy. So, in a race that, what's your biggest competition here? Funny Guy, a horse that I kind of like.
Yeah, I almost picked him.
I think Funny Guy showed that he's maybe just a cut below. I want to pick him. He's not. And then Friends Fire, who came back, and you're like, okay, the True North. Like, all right, he apparently is kind of the real deal. And then got hammered by Volatile in the Vanderbilt, and then got hammered again in the Forgo.
The thing about Friends Fire.
Sure.
Yeah, the thing about Friends Fire. It's like, yeah, you should have won the True North because the True North was pretty shitty. But then you went into the Vanderbilt and you weren't competitive, and then you went into the Forgo, and I know it was slop and a lot of shit went wrong, but it's like you were awful. So yeah, I didn't want to do him. I didn't want to go with him.
No, I think Engage is the best horse in the race. So yeah, I'm with you, man. Number 6, Engage for both of us.
We're 1 for 1.
So we basically earlier in the day we talked about our kind of our top plays of the races we're doing on today's show, and this was one we definitely agreed on. I can say that.
Which one? The one we just talked about?
Engage. Yeah,
we did. And I mean, I think he's got a good shot to win. I mean, the thing about Engage, the only thing you got to worry about is maybe he doesn't come back like strong off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, and again, we talked about that too at lunch. It's like, you know, you can only do so much with those kind of situations. Like, he's either going to come back or not. You know, like if you can't, we have no idea other than the fact that Asmussen is a Hall of Fame trainer and is entering him in the race.
You got to pick the best horse, and you hope to get lucky, and that's racing a lot of times. No question.
You know, Funny Guy, I agree. I mean, I think Funny Guy is the Dane. If I almost picked. I like Funny Guy. I picked him last time.
Who likes Funny Guy?
Dennis.
Dennis, yeah, I agree. I mean, Funny Guy. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
think he's going to engage.
I picked Funny Guy last time, and I kind of
felt
like
it wasn't so funny.
It was not funny. It was very depressing, actually. Because you one of those races so you kind of knew like pretty quick, or like down the stretch, you're like, yeah, he's not as good as he does.
The only thing about that race was it was kind of a mess.
Yeah, it was. And
the weather,
and he gives you a excuse for sure.
Sure. Oh yeah.
All right, let's go to Santa Anita.
If we spend more than a minute on this race, we're doing it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. They just kicked off and they're taking it out.
Here come the Dolphins. And here come the Dolphins. 16-yard line.
Samich is excited, right?
Yeah, Dolphins. Samich's team is Miami Dolphins, the 0-2 Dolphins. Here comes Ryan Fitzpatrick. Oh, God, Samich.
Why is Tua not playing yet is what I want to know.
Well, I think after this game he might. Although, Fitzpatrick hasn't been bad this year.
Well, if you talk about in horse racing terms, we know what Fitzpatrick is, right?
Yeah,
he's not bad. He'll win you some games by just slinging it. He's a slinger. He'll lose you a bunch of games.
He's kind of like Lone Sailor.
That's pretty sad.
Like, you know what he's going to do, and it's not great.
That is awful. I feel really bad for him. Comparing him to Lone Sailor.
What? I mean, name another horse that you could compare Ryan Fitzpatrick to.
No, that's probably fair. I mean,
because like every time Ryan Fitzpatrick goes to a new team, it's like, oh, he might be really good. And then he doesn't do shit.
Before we leave, Belmont race 8. Anyone can you race as a BC horse? Which one was race 8?
I don't think so.
Hang on.
Yeah, let's look it up. We're gonna actually answer this question. Oh, it's a stupid. Yeah. No. I'm gonna say no.
I mean,
maybe the 9
filler, maybe the Breeders' Cup.
But yeah, I don't think it's okay. Could be a Breeders' Cup horse, yes. Could be a winner, no.
I mean, you're talking about horses like Blowout, who's 3-1. It would be like 20 or 30-1 in the Breeders' Cup. I feel like so. Filler, yes. Otherwise, no.
Nope, not for me.
All right. Now talk about horses that we think could be
yes,
legit in the Breeders' Cup.
Heard of a few of these.
3, 2, 1. All right, let's move to Santa Anita Park on Saturday. More Breeders' Cup. When you're in action, race 3, the Chandelier Stakes, grade 2. We're $200K for fillies. 2-year-olds going 1 1/16 miles. It's a Breeders' Cup when you're in event for the juvenile fillies. Talk about this is definitely one of the strongest, if not the strongest favorite of the 2 days that we're going to talk about here. Number 1, Princess Noor, 2-5 morning line favorite for Bob Baffert, Victor Espinoza to ride. This horse has been hyped and has lived up to the hype so far. She is kind of a freak.
Yeah, I mean, Baffert had to enter 3 in this race even to get it to fill, right? So, I mean, that tells you right there. Princess Noor, for me, should be pretty easy win. I mean, I don't think we have to spend a whole lot of time on this. If she loses, it'll be a huge upset.
Yeah, I mean, because you want to say, okay, well, how do you get her beat? Well, I'm still asking,
She doesn't show up.
I mean, she just, it'd have to be some kind of issue. There's every number you look at, every angle you look at, she's just pure and simple, faster and better than the rest of them. She's, we know how good not this time is can be with these 2-year-olds. Mile 16th should not be an issue with her. Obviously, a huge $1.35 million purchase. like I say, has lived up to that hype, winning by 2.5 and 6.5 in her 2 starts, including 1 Grade 1 win already in the debutante. So yeah, it's going to take, I think if you're looking for singles, there's a reason why this race is obviously race 3 on the program, because I know how heavy this horse is going to be bet in the singles. So I don't think there's a lot to talk about here.
I guess if you want to get her beat, it's the fact she's going 2 turns for the first time. But then you look at the rest of the field and it's like, well, they are too. So it's really tough. I think Princess Nora is an easy winner here. And by the way, not this time. Great start as a sire, right? I mean, really doing well. So I think, and you look at not this time, horse was probably bred to go 2 turns. So now you got his offspring. I think Princess Nora might even be better than what we saw.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. One thing I don't like about Princess Nora for Breeders' Cup is I'd rather her be running in this race. Just wait until the Breeders' Cup.
I don't.
I mean, that's a question we have on here.
I don't think you want her first race around 2 turns to be at the Breeders' Cup. Will be my only rebuttal to that. I mean, I get what you're saying, Dennis, but I kind of think let's get her 2 turn. Let's get a 2-turn race in her now.
And I also think this is not. I mean, who are you afraid of? And like you said, he had to fill 2 other Bafferts. Baffert had to fill 2 other horses in the race just to get it to fill, including a horse that she just absolutely annihilated last time out. So it's like, what is like to me? This is a paid workout essentially. Yeah. So to me, I don't necessarily get worried about the fact that having her run here instead of waiting for the Breeders' Cup. So to me, this is just going to solidify probably one of the better locks of the Breeders' Cup should be. Of the 2 days. And that's number 1, Princess Noor.
Brandon Duron says, hey, guys. Hey. What's up?
What's up? What's up, Brandon? Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
I see Fitzpatrick driving down the field.
Yeah, there. Fitzpatrick driving down the field, and here come the Dolphins.
Of course.
Can you make a dolphin noise?
No.
No, I mean, I can, but not on air.
Where's Ace Ventura when you need him? Let's see. We're gonna go to
who's next?
The Juvenile Turf Sprint. That's
the Speakeasy. Such a tough.
That's a doozy.
Oh, I hate this race to death. I'm going. Listen, I'll be honest before we start recording the pod. I'm going on a total hunch here.
Yeah, he is. I know his pick already, and I'm not sure I get playing this horse. This is one of those races you definitely don't want to get beat in. So
I think this race, especially considering that you can go a single in the 3rd race. So this is the last leg of the pick 5 or the pick 4 at Santa Anita on Saturday. This is a race you could definitely flirt with going all. Probably should have said that on the actual pod. I'll say it.
You talk about it.
I will.
Of course.
Yes.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, next up, race 5. That's the Speakeasy Stakes with 100K for 2-year-olds going 5.5 furlongs on the turf at Santa Anita Park. It's a win or in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. And, we talk about a semi-lock in the last race. This one, you can make a case for almost going all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, with the fact that you have Princess Nora in the 3rd race, and then this race is the 5th race, which is the late or the ending leg in the late pick 4 and the late pick 5, you could almost go all here because you had that single in race 3. This is really tough. Like Speakeasy, every last year it was tough. This year it's tough. I went with a first-time starter in here. And the reason why I did it is just like, I don't love anybody else in the race. I went with the Doug O'Neill first-time starter on the rail in a stakes race. All horrible, horrible signs.
What could go wrong, right?
You're right, yeah. But this horse by Nyquist, who, by the way, is a Grade 1 winner on turf and dirt so far as a sire. Nyquist off to a tremendous start. And this horse is named the Great One, which was named after Wayne Gretzky. A horse named after Wayne Gretzky last week, Gretzky the Great, won at Woodbine. So that's 2 good signs. And then the thing that put it over the top, Eric Johnson, defenseman for the Colorado Avalanche, is part owner of the horse. So it's like,
so what could go wrong?
That's like the trifecta right now, right? So I picked the great one, a first-time starter on top in this race. Listen, I looked at Commander Kai a little bit. I looked at Wi-Fi a little bit. Those are horses I'm going to play. I'll play the Wesley Ward filly as well. But on top, I'm going to just take a shot. 6-1 on the morning line is a pretty good price. I think the great one for me on top.
It's a tough race when there's 3 first-timers, all with Doug O'Neill. And then you've got a first-time U.S. horse for Peter Miller, the 9-horse Feathers. So you're talking 9 horses in the field, and 4 of them are essentially a first-time look at all of them.
Well, I'll tell you this. I wrote the preview for this race for the Breeders' Cup, and 1, 2, 3, all Doug O'Neill's, all first-time starters. So I'm looking up, the field comes out, and I'm looking up each horse on Equibase, right? And I'm like, is Equibase broke again? There's no way these horses are all first-time freaking starters. They all are. So that's crazy to me. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Listen, I think if you can go as deep in this race as possible, I think that's a smart idea. But, I'm looking more here for experience, and that's number 5, Amanzi Yapilo.
Which is the logical pick.
Wesley Ward, Luis Saez gets them out after I read Ortiz last road. In the Bolton Landing at Saratoga, listen, debuted at Gulfstream Park, won really nicely, going 5 furlongs on the turf. Goes to Saratoga on the turf, which, of course, that day, by the way, was rated good, and we know how that track played on the turf. I think getting back to a fast track will help this horse. Obviously, getting blinkers off in this situation, so you're getting an equipment change. You're getting 7-2 at a nice little price there. Listen, and you get experience. You get a stakes experience in the horse versus some of these that are first-time starters. So I get that. Listen, I don't necessarily think like this is one of my probably weaker plays of the 8 because she got kind of blasted in the Bolton's Landing. You could tell like she needed, whether it be class relief or needed experience or whatever.
Maybe a different track.
I think so too. So listen, she gets some weight allowance as well here, and being a filly. So I like the filly here. I'm going to go with number 5, Amanzi Yapilo.
Good pick. All right, 3rd and goal for the Dolphins here. They've taken off 7 minutes of the clock, and they score a touchdown. So they took off almost 7 minutes of the clock and scored a touchdown on the opening drive. Good drive for the Dolphins.
Oh, man.
Lone Sailor is slinging it right now.
Let's see how. I'm going to guess my person I'm playing in fantasy this week has Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick.
Of course, Fitzpatrick. Yep.
The Broad has Fitzpatrick?
She picked him up this week, yeah. So.
Oh, my goodness.
Set Teddy Bridgewater and started Fitzpatrick, 49 yards.
And honestly, Fitzpatrick was perfect on that drive.
Yeah.
He had no incomplete passes.
Well, sure.
He's
4 for 4 for 49.
Yeah, and touchdown. Don't forget the touchdown.
Yeah, we'll see. Of course.
Yeah. 7-0 Dolphins.
All right. That race is definitely the toughest one. This one is probably a close second to the Rodeo Drive. Race 7.
Never forget the first time we drove down Rodeo Drive. It was pitch dark, and we were just messing. Like it was the first time we ever went to LA. We were like, we have no idea where we're at. We're trying to find the Hollywood sign because we thought it would be lit up. By the way, if you're looking for the Hollywood sign at night, it's not lit up. And we drove down Rodeo Drive on accident. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
we finally found it.
And you look out the window and you're going, it's Rodeo Drive. I was like, no shit. Anyway.
We got Starbucks there one time too. Remember
we
that?
did, yeah. Now that's when we knew where we were going.
Yeah. It was a rental car parked next to the Lambos.
Yep. We had we had a rental car. Yeah.
All right.
What a time. Looking 2 or 4 people at that time from Missouri looking for the Hollywood sign, thinking it would be lit up. It's literally right in front of our face, but we can't see it because it's dark.
Nope.
Yeah.
Then the next day we saw it like
it's right there.
Close. Yeah.
What a Yeah, we weren't very smart. But who would think, like tourists, that the Hollywood sign wouldn't be lit up at night?
I kind of assumed it was. Not gonna lie.
Well, yeah, sure, everybody did.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Next up, race 7, the Rodeo Drive Stakes Grade 1 with 300K for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 1.25 miles on the turf. Field of 7 lines up for this one. It's a Breeders' Cup winner in event for the Maker's Mark filly and mare turf. Another tough one here. Field of 7. You got 5-2 on Bojita, and you got 2-1 on Lady Prancelot, 4-1 on Maxim Rate. I like that. Tonahito at 5-1, easily the toughest race to announce.
I'll give you a guess who you're picking after that comment.
Yeah, well, I mean, 4-1 on Maxim Rate. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I like that as well, but I like 5-2 on Bodicita. I think that's a pretty good price. Listen, this horse came to the United States and was pretty much a disappointment. I'm talking about Bodicita, but this year, damn, that horse has been good. So I'm going to definitely ride the Bodicita train. 3 for 4 this season, and the only loss was a very narrow margin in the Gamely, which was a grade 1 here at Santa Anita. So I think Bodicita is a pretty good pick. I don't know why this horse is not the favorite over Lady Prancelot. I think she beats Lady Prancelot for sure. And then last time out won at Del Mar. So yeah, for me, Bodicita on top.
Listen, I mean, I like Lady Prancelot, but I think the way I handicap this race, she's my 4th choice. And
Lady Prancelot?
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
And she's a favorite here.
Favorite to play again.
So I think it's a good opportunity to get some value here. I would rather play the 1 and the 2.
The 2?
The 2, yeah. Shocking. And the 3, of course, as well.
Sure.
The 3 is just, I almost pulled the trigger with the 3. I can't believe that this horse keeps going long. He's almost like the horse got better. Not almost. The horse did get better going longer, but sire-wise, this horse should not be getting better going longer. So I guess I'm kind of cautiously optimistic about this horse. The one horse that you do feel confident in going longer, and that's number 2, Maxim Rate.
Sure.
Love Santa Anita, and of course coming in off of a win. I like the way that this horse is kind of campaigned herself into this race. From the start of 2020, debuted getting 2nd, and then goes and then wins again, going 1 mile and 3/8. And it's kind of did what she needed to do to win the race. And I think she's going to run a really good one here going longer. So ultimately, again, I picked with the angle with Leah Size jumping on board. And by the way, spoiler alert, I will do that a few times. I like the fact that Leah Size jumps on her again here. So I think she's going to be the toughest one to beat here. And you have a little bit more of the back class with her as well. So number 2, Maxim Rate.
Good horse, Maxim Rate. I like that horse.
Yeah, she's kind of kind of quietly has a lot of back class,
Yep, for sure. All right, what's next?
Next race. What are we doing here? The American Pharaoh.
The American Pharaoh.
American Pharaoh, and then the Awesome again. So we got 2 really big races here to end the day on Saturday. We'll jump into Sunday with the Distaff race and another sprint race. So
we're halfway home.
And these 2 races here have, we talked about Princess Noor, but we have very much so 2 potential horses that, Breeders' Cup winning type horses. So
right. Yeah, you're right. And I think now you get serious. Princess Noor for sure, and then now you really get serious.
Oh yeah. All right. What race is this? Race 8. 3, 2, 1. Race 8 on Saturday at Santina Park. The American Pharaoh Stakes to grade 1 with 300K for 2-year-olds going 1/16 miles. It is a Breeders' Cup winning or an event for the TVG Juvenile. Field of 8 lines up for this one. It's an interesting race because you have a horse at 3-1 for Bob Baffert, Spielberg, the huge purchase, kind of like Princess Noor, only the horse has never won. So the horse has never won, is your morning line favorite. By the definition of a Bob Baffert $1 million plus horse, the horse has been a disappointment. Yet 3-1 morning line favorite for the juvenile race. So when you're in, do you have the balls to pick this horse?
I picked this horse, and it's kind of against my own judgment a little bit, but at the same time, I don't like any other horses in this race. And I think that was the big thing that made me go towards Spielberg. And you look at Spielberg, yeah, sure, he's still a maiden, but he's lost twice to a horse in Dr. Schivel, who I would pick to win this race if he was in it. If you missed the news, Dr. Schivel will be out until his 3-year-old season. So that is that's something to think about, because he probably would have been one of the favorites to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile if he was going to be in it. So he's out, and when that happens, it kind of means, well, Spielberg's pretty competitive. Like last time out, he only got beat a length and 3/4. So he probably is the one to beat here.
I mean, I would be all for trying to beat him, but
who are you going to beat?
You're like, how do you, the horse is bred to go long, Union Rag's horse. Two beats that obviously were better than anyone else in this race. The numbers come back stronger than anyone in this race, both time, form, and buyer wise. Listen, there's just too much to like here, even though the horse, you would like to see the horse coming in like a Princess Newer who had the hype plus, because Spielberg had the hype, and the horse gets beat. And you're like, okay, horse got beat on debut, comes back, Belmont Futurity. Oh, gets beat again by the same damn horse. You're like, okay, how good is this horse? But that horse isn't in this race. So,
do you think that horse will be better stretching out a little bit?
It has to be. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be bred. You go kind of a classic distance. And you look at like a Weston or something like that, who obviously has faced him before. And he showed, I just feel like this horse showed, especially in the last race, like just not, he's a different level, as far as, compared to Spielberg. So, listen, if you're talking about a horse that I'm less confident in as far as the juveniles go, it's definitely this one, especially for $1 million horse. But Spielberg, I mean, just by the breeding, by the fact that, Dr. Schivel's not in here, and then who else is in the race? I think Spielberg has to win. So at 3-1, too, I think, if you get 3-1, I think that's more than fair.
I think it is, too. I don't think you'll be 3-1.
No, especially, again, Luis Saez, Bob Baffert.
Good word. Or good connections.
We're going to talk a little bit about that. I like that combo. So number 5, Spielberg for both of us.
Sometimes you hate to pick a horse that's going to be that price that
hasn't won.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, damn, those other horses aren't that good. He's beat a lot of those other horses.
Be good ROI if I did win play show every Luis Saez race at Cincinnati this week.
I don't think it would be the worst thing.
Yeah, he might be short price though, is the only thing. So you might in one race he runs poorly, you're gonna get hurt by it. But a race
maybe win place, not win place show.
Yeah, because he definitely could have like a 5-win day or something,
Yeah.
What the Jags do? Punt?
The Jags punted, and now the Dolphins have it again. I would take a 2-turn. Yeah, 2-turn. I looked at that turf horse for sure, but
I think Dennis. I don't hate that angle. I think we're one race early to try to play against Spielberg here. If there's anything that we've seen in the past with Baffert, it goes that, he may not have his best horses running right now in terms of the, grade 1 races. Mm-hmm. History shows that we don't see his best horses. His best horses are blooming at the right time. Or may not even started a race yet right now. So, you might see, this might be a good, like look at a horse like 8 Rings.
Yeah.
Last year.
This race.
Clearly not a great horse, but won this race.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the timing of that right of Spielberg here, where it's like, okay, he's just better than the rest of these. He may not be a great horse. He certainly may be less than what his purchase price was.
Definitely.
But can he beat this field? Probably.
I think that, I wanted to go against him, but I think you just look at this field and it's like, this is such a trash field that I can't. Yeah, sure, I could take that turf horse, but it's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't think that horse is that good. So let's see if Fitzpatrick can complete every pass tonight. He's 7 for 7 now.
Well, considering Randa, who by the way is Ryan's wife, who's in our fantasy league, considering I'm playing her and she's the mouthiest in the league, and the fact that she picked him up last minute and started him, I'm guessing he will. So shout out to the broad.
You could have called her a name if you wanted.
Well, no, I like Brenda. She's nice. I just don't like her this week.
3rd down 4. Here comes a slant for 10 yards, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go, Fitzmagic.
I think we have a bet in our league about what he knows.
Let's see if he gets 20 yards rushing. He got like 15 right there.
The beard, man. The beard.
Fitzmagic. All
right. Let's do the main event.
This is a big time race.
The main event, a Breeders' Cup winner in for the Classic, and 2 of the top Classic contenders here with Maximum Security and Improbable. Same barn, too, by the way. Hell of a race. Hell of a race. All right. Three, two, one. And finally, the last race on Saturday at Santa Anita, race 10, the Awesome Against Stakes is grade 1 with $3 million for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 1/8 miles. It is a Breeders' Cup winning event for the Longines Classic. And boy, is it a doozy. Field of 5 only, but man, make no mistake, these are 2 legit contenders for the Breeders' Cup Classic. That is Maximum Security, the 3-5 morning line favorite for this race. Leah Size, Bob Baffert. Leah Size jumps back on board finally with Maximum Security. And then you got Improbable out of the Baffert barn as well, 8-5. You know, all eyes are on Maximum Security. I mean, he's very much the most notable horse in racing. But is it a time to play against him with his stablemate Improbable just looming there, especially at a distance that we know he can be very good at?
It took a while for me to kind of figure out what to do here, but I eventually landed on Improbable, believe it or not, which is a horse that I've had my demons with, right?
I don't think I've ever seen you like this horse.
Well, I know I've liked him, and then he loses.
But I'm saying, like, you don't. If you do like him, it's very short lived.
Yeah, no, it is. It totally is. The Pennsylvania Derby for me was the last time I was like, that's it with this son of a bitch. You know, I'll never forget. We were standing in the paddock for the Pennsylvania Derby, and he comes in, and it's like he looks like he's been in a shower. He's so wet, he's sweaty. And I looked at you and Paul, and I said, "This mother, you know what? I hate this SOB so much."
You knew it was over before.
Yeah, and he embarrassed me. You know, he was an idiot the whole time, but
he embarrassed you. Specifically, he embarrassed you.
Correct. And he's continued to. So I picked against.
Halsbury yelled, like, "Hey, you're embarrassing me. Get your shit together."
I don't know if you remember, but I
think you did yell.
I was pretty drunk when we were in that paddock, and I said, "God damn it, come on, Improbable!" You know, I yelled at him, and it didn't help. But anyway, so he
won that race, by the way.
Oh, I don't want to talk about Math Wizard right now. But yeah, Math Wizard won the race.
Math Wizard beat Improbable, and yet you're picking Improbable to beat Maximum Security.
So
right?
Okay, so here's why I picked Improbable. If I want to go real quick, so I did pick Tom Tatat to beat to beat Improbable to start the year, right? So that was a good pick. But then I've lost to Improbable the last 2 races.
This has to be someone that knows us.
Never underestimate a Charlestown Classic winner, says no one.
Rick James has to be someone that knows
Rick
us.
James definitely listened to the Magic Mike show.
He's had a few comments here that knows us a little too well.
It might be magic. So, so anyway, so Improbable. Listen, here's the deal with him. He has faced better competition than Maximum Security. Do you agree?
Lately, yes.
Well, I mean this year. I'm talking about this year.
Yes.
In the last 2 races, he's pretty much disposed of these horses. Like even up at Saratoga, he beat by. Listen, forget about Tom Tatat at Saratoga. Terrible break. Improbable beat by my standards easily, and that horse came back
to win. And
looked great.
Obviously, a very good horse.
And listen,
it would be a classic type horse.
Before the only horse that's beat by my standards was Tom Tatat, who I think is fantastic. Like he'd be my Breeders' Cup pick right now. So I think Improbable, he's got the class edge. I think we have seen a very much improved Improbable this season.
For sure.
I kind of think we're going to get a mild upset here. I'm going Improbable on top. I'm not taking anything away from Max. Max will be on my tickets as far as multi-races. Pick 4, pick 5.
Those two?
I am just going to play those. Well, I'll play Sleepy Eyes Todd in the pick 4, not the pick 5, because I think I'll have it. But listen, I'm going to pick Improbable in a mild upset here.
Listen, Damien. Damien says so much made a case for Sleepy Eyes Todd earlier. Because of the pace.
Can I stop you real quick?
No, yes. Go ahead.
Everybody listening, whether you're live or you're listening to the podcast, do you guys want to know the number one most overrated handicapping angle there is in horse racing?
I think everyone's on the edge of their seat right now.
Pace. It's so overrated for two reasons. One, you can never predict the pace. It hardly ever turns out like you think it's going to on paper. And two, I don't really think it matters as much as people think, especially in stakes races.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'd say. I think it matters more in your smaller races, just like it matters
claimers.
in claiming and allowance races. But
in these stakes races, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because you got to, what I always tell people is like you've got to remember these horses that are in grade 1 races. They know what they're doing, and the trainers know what they're doing.
Exactly.
And then there might be an instance where they might show a lot of speed, but they're not going to show it here in this race because guess what? They are very good horses. So you got to be careful about that. I agree.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a hot take.
No, I think analyzing a pace in the race is a big waste of time.
I think Sleepy Eyes Todd is going to still be running when we talk about the podcast next week. That's how I feel like in this race. His last 3 races were ran at Fauner Park. That's right. Let me say it one more time. Fauner Park, Lone Star Park. Let me say it one more time. Lone Star Park.
Well, hold on.
And Charlestown.
He got beat by a very, very, very good horse.
Where did that horse win next?
At Remington Park. Okay. Won the Governor's Cup by 6 and won an allowance by 13. Hunk of Burning Love is very good. So
how much would Maximum Security win an allowance at Remington Park by?
Not 13.
Oh, please. Now that might be true because that's the kind of way. That's the way he run. He'd probably still win by 3.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a fair assessment, but I just don't like that analogy at all, or that comparison. Number 5, Maximum Security for me. I think Luis Saez jumping on board. I mean, it's definitely hurt. I mean, Sedalia, I don't think there's any issue with the way Sedalia rode. It's just Luis is his regular rider. Obviously, quote unquote, won the Kentucky Derby aboard him. But, I do think drawing outside, plenty of speed in the race. Obviously, Maximum Security has shown in the past that he's able to sit off of it a little bit or able to just dictate the pace like we saw last time out in the Pacific Classic. I think he sits off it a little bit. I think, obviously, you benefit from knowing that Improbable is in the race for Bob Baffert, who draws, quote unquote, the inside. Take the 101 is going to be going to definitely show speed. But I think, you definitely know Improbable will be right there. And I would imagine Maximum Security, Luis Saez, is going to sit off of Improbable. So I don't necessarily believe that we're going to see a pace duel between the 2 Baffert horses.
No, absolutely.
So I think Maximum Security is going to sit a trip perfectly on the outside. And keep this in mind, for anybody that's trying to play against, Maximum Security, numbers-wise, and that's all we have to go off of. I mean, versus, whether it be buyers or time form, best race of the horse's career, not one turn, was last time out. Yeah. And this is his 3rd start with Bob Baffert. So you got to think this horse is only going to be getting better. The workout suggests such. I think he kind of cruises here. Maybe not like, we know 3 length. I think 3 lengths. 3 lengths is what he wins by.
He's not winning by 13 to Remington. We know that. Listen, I think it's Baffert. I really do. And you're right. We could flip flop it. I'm just like, well, this is as good a time as ever to take Improbable. If he loses, not a big deal. You've got Max as a backup, right? So, but I think Improbable at 8-5. He might be worth a little bit of a shot.
Now, we talked about a little bit with Princess Noor, and obviously we both believe she's one of the deadlocks and should be very, very good, if not one of the horses to beat in the Breeders' Cup. So obviously there's the Breeders' Cup winning her in for the Classic. We're talking about Maximum Security, who wins this race, will be the favorite of the Classic. Kind of crazy year.
Probably
right?
Gonna happen. Then,
and then Improbable. Really, the winner of this race will be the favorite of the Classic, considering you have Tiz Law, who just lost, who's going to train up for it, and then of course you have Thomas Todd, who also is going to train up for it, who lost the last time out. So I think the winner of this race, assuming it's one of the Bafferts, will be the favorite of the Classic. So what does this race tell you, or anybody that's watching this race say about, because obviously the point is trying to find the Classic winner.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking at this race when it comes to that?
You have to say, if all things being equal, meaning we don't have a stumble at the gate, we don't have something weird happen, and it's Improbable versus Max down the stretch, the winner, I mean, you would have to think that's probably a strong Classic play, right? Because the winner of this race, and then you add in Tom Zatat, and then you add in, Authentic Tiz the Law. Those are the four, right? Or if Authentic doesn't win the Preakness, somebody else maybe. But I mean, the winner of this race, considering or assuming it's going to be a fair race for everybody, is a huge, like maybe the pick in the Classic. That's how big this 5-horse, when you look at it on the surface, Mickey Mouse type race is. But when you look at it, it's like, well, Bob Baffert's got the two best older horses right now, and they're going to square off. Let's see who's better.
Yeah, I mean, is there an instance here where you're like, okay, Improbable, you're picking this race as Improbable, where you're like, okay, Improbable won, but maximum security next time out. Well, I mean,
if he goes to his nose out of the, that's it. But if they all have a fair trip and Improbable beats Max, I don't think you can play Max.
Well, in a 5-horse field, you kind of have that advantage, so to speak, to where you not a lot should happen. Where you have more of a someone typed in match race, where you have a closer to a match race, where you're like, okay, we can kind of see. I would assume Improbable is going to hit the top of the stretch in the lead, if not very close. Max Security will be right there on him, and we'll see. We'll see the match race down the stretch.
Yeah,
who's better?
Put in that. Glad to hear you say that, because I suck at predicting pace. Damian, you don't suck at predicting pace. It's impossible to predict it. That's the whole thing about it. We all suck at it. I've done this for years and years and years, and I suck at it because you don't know what the jockeys are going to do. You don't know what the trainers want to do, and that dictates the pace a lot of times. What you see on the past performances only goes so far. They're reading the past performances just like we are. So in this example, Drayden Van Dyke's reading the past performances, so is Luis Saez. Neither one of them want to have the other one get that far away.
Right.
So it's really going to just be a situation where who's going to take it and who's going to sit back.
What's funny is I've hit plenty of races and I've missed plenty of races due to the pace. Meaning I've been like, I got that race dead on. I knew that pace was going to set up that way. The winner was right. I got it. Boom. I've also won races by picking the horse that I thought dictated by the pace that the horse didn't do what I thought it was going to do.
And he still won the race, or she.
Yeah, so you're like, so you got, sometimes that happens.
That's the biggest thing of all. Say you picked Authentic because you thought he would get slow fractions early in the Kentucky Derby. We didn't do it, but say you did. He didn't get slow fractions at all. He still won the race.
Right.
So it happens. And not only with stakes, it happens with other races all the time.
One of my favorite stories or favorite examples of that is long before the racing dudes existed. Talked about earlier about
oh my god, dudes. Swiss guy,
Swiss guy, yeah. Whiskey. A horse that was very, very like felt like it ran every week at Hollywood Park
because it did.
And of course, every time we showed up, he was running. I think it was a he.
It was a he. Gelding. Yep.
Yeah, and I'll never forget. I think the horse was like 3 or 4 to 1, and I was like, dude, this horse is going to win. Look at the pace setup. This horse is going to come off of the pace and just eat him up down the stretch.
Yeah, a lot of pace in the race. Yeah.
I was so confident on it. I put it 30, 20, whatever. I don't know at that time when I put to win on the horse. They break. The horse goes straight to the lead. I'm like, well,
this is bad.
Okay. The horse goes wire to wire. And I'm like, see, told you. That horse is going to win.
At the half-mile pole, he looks at all of us that were at the OTB and he goes, this game is impossible. Like, what is he doing out there? And then he goes wire to wire.
And I was like, I knew it the whole way. I knew that horse would go wire to wire. I knew that.
When they open the gates, you just never know. Yeah. That's why it's always just best to pick the best horse in the race that you think is the best horse, or the horse that offers the most value, either one. And whatever happens when they break happens. That's the luck part of the game.
All right. Speaking of luck, we're going to need it. I'm on number 5, Max at Security.
I will. You won't.
You're on the other Bob Baffert horse, number 2, Improbable.
I'm glad. I don't remember who brought up the pace, the Samich pace thing. And that's not a knock on Samich, by the way. That's just my opinion that I just think pace is way overrated.
Yeah, I mean, we all have angles that we use and live and die by, so to speak. I think it was Damien.
Well, Damien, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And listen, the whole deal of it is, if you can correctly predict the pace of a race, you're way ahead of the game. Because it does dictate a lot what happens a lot of times.
And I'll add to that, if you can correctly predict the pace on a consistent consensus basis.
Consistent
basis. Yeah. You need more light?
Well, I'm about out. Yeah.
No, but because you can. Like I said, you can do it a lot. Where you're like, yeah, I was dead on with that. But there's a lot of times where you're like, why the hell did that horse go to the lead? I didn't expect that horse to go to the lead. And
and sometimes like Antoinette last week, you handicapped that race from a pace perspective perfectly.
Yeah.
Antoinette got to the lead, went very slow all the way around there. Magic Attitude was just better. It didn't matter.
Yep.
I mean, that's just how it's happened. So
and
don't get hung up on the pace.
There's been plenty of times where pace wise, could not have been more correct. The horse went to the lead. This horse, it's like almost one of those, you're going to have to catch that horse to win. And guess what? They caught the horse. So like
what I just said.
What I'm saying is like, when you have that kind of situation, like, and you mentioned it on the live thing, it was like, you've got the best horse.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the pace sets up.
Well,
the best horse to always, always win.
The opposite of that, in the Louisiana Derby, I loved Wells Bayou. And I remember on the live feed, everybody's like, oh no, it's too much pace. Too much pace. It's like, forget that. Like if he's the best horse, he will win.
Right.
You know, I don't know. And maybe you disagree, but I don't think so.
The 220 grade 1 field races we're seeing in a while.
Yeah, I mean they are, and I think it's COVID. A lot of it. There's so many options where maybe there wouldn't be options during a normal year, but then you come and you fast forward, and it's like, well, all these races have been bunched together. That this is what you get. And
you have a lot of instances too that what we're seeing as far as the inside angle goes is like you're seeing a lot of trainers who had to back off of horses that would have normally been running by now. And so they've delayed their returns, which of course makes them either need a race and they're just running them wherever they can, or they're just not quite ready to run in that grade 1 or whatever they're entered in. So you're seeing like a mixed bag of horses that normally would be a little bit more ready as we sit here, approximately a month out of the Breeders' Cup. You know what I mean?
Yep. I agree with that.
Which is going to make the Breeders' Cup more fun than normal, because you're going to have these situations where you have horses that might peak from the year right then, that day. They might have ran okay all year or maybe only ran once all year and ran third. Mm-hmm. And then it might, boom, be the horse, to beat at the Breeders' Cup. So it makes it a little difficult too to handicap as well.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, this year's just far from normal. I mean, I think that's just what, if this time next year we're saying the same thing, then maybe we have a problem. But for this year, it's just like, let's just try to run these races and get them done.
The fact that we are, knock on wood, going to sit here and complete the Triple Crown next week.
Crazy.
That's pretty impressive, really, if you think about it.
Yep.
So
it is,
considering what we looked like in March. So
yep.
All right, let's do Sunday. We got 2 on Sunday, a distaff and a sprint. To obviously the staff, a big race. See what you got here. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's move to Sunday. We got 2 Breeders' Cup winner in races on Sunday at Santa Anita Park. Race 4, the Zenyatta Stakes, grade 2, where $200K for fillies, mares, 3-year-olds, and up to 1/16 miles. Field of 5 lines up for this one. We kind of know what we're working with when it comes to the distaff with Midnight Bijou and Monomoy Girl. Those obviously the older horses are the 2 big dogs, but obviously being a winner in, you have a Bob Baffert in here like Fighting Mad. can you see this instance where, maybe these horses make it a little bit of a run as far as especially as hitting the board. So a small field of 5, but what do you think here as far as in terms of winning this one?
Yeah, I really wanted to pick the 3-horse Harvest Moon because I think this horse is just super good. And this is a horse up and coming 3-year-old that I just think this is like the next good older filly that runs in California and wins all the races. But I don't know if she's ready to beat a horse like Fighting Mad. You look at Fighting Mad's last 2 races, beat better horses than what she's going to face here, right? And you look at the speed figures, and it's like, yeah, Fighting Mad should probably win. I kind of think the only horse that can beat Fighting Mad here is Hard Not to Love, but she's really hard to go with because she's so crazy. So I'm going to go Fighting Mad on top.
Listen, I don't think this field is going to – I try to talk it up on the opening. Listen, if I'm picking Fighting Mad here, I think – Gate to Wire, draws Sorrell. By the way, they bought Baffert, Luis Saez, so could have a hell of a weekend here. I don't necessarily think. I guess Fighting Mad could be a player in the as far as a pace standpoint goes in the distaff, but as far as comparing her to a Monomoy Girl or a Midnight Bizu, that's another conversation. So
especially Monomoy Girl.
Listen, I just think she's the best horse in the field. 2 for 2 at this distance. She likes Anita. Obviously, a nice sire with New Year's Day. Bob Baffert, Luis Saez, Gary Mary West. The last 2 efforts really impressive. Going gate to wire, double or triple digit buyers, I should say, in both races, including the Clement Hirsch, which is a grade 1. So she just once she's stretched out, she's been a little bit better horse. So. Number 1, Fighting Mad, gate to wire.
Well, sure. What
you guys like? No.
All right. One more to go, and then let's ask the people what they like. So, listen, your Fitzmagic problem is becoming a problem.
Why?
Because he's playing very well. I've been keeping an eye on him. He's doing really well.
No, he sucks.
I keep thinking that's your dog, but it's your foot.
Thanks for touching my foot.
You're welcome. He's 7 of 7, 85 yards and a touchdown. And there he's going to run again. Nope, he's going to throw.
8 for 8. Is he really 8 for 8?
He's 8 for 8.
Jags defense is stepping up, looks like.
Oh, man. Fitzmagic. All right, last one, folks.
Race 8. Hey, I can only do what I can do. You know what I mean? So
what do you mean?
I can't control him.
Oh no, you can't. Yeah. No.
Put up 150 last week and got blasted. What can I do?
Yeah.
All right.
I bet that went for a touchdown.
Yeah. Play action deep. All right. Race 8. It's a sprint. 3, 2, 1. And finally, let's wrap this puppy up. Race 8 on Sunday is Santa Anita Sprint Championship Stakes Grade 2. We're $200K for 3-year-olds and up. Going 6 furlongs. Field of 5 lines up for this one. It's a Breeders' Cup win. You're in for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Field of 5. And we've got Collusion Illusion, Desert Law, Flagstaff, CZ Rocket, Giant Expectations cutting back in a big way. What you think?
I'm just going to go with the legend, Peter Miller, right? I mean, he's just done wonders with this horse somehow. And so I'm going to go CZ Rocket on top.
Somehow.
It also gets Luis Saez to ride. I think that's I know he lost Flavian, which you're going to talk about here in a second, but getting Luis is a pretty good second choice. And, since being claimed by Peter Miller, look at him. 4 races in a row, 4 wins. Let's make it 5. CZ Rocket on top for me.
Claim for 50K, and here we are. So pretty shocking result,
yeah,
right?
Kind of
unheard of.
Maybe not.
Yeah, you talk about the rider switch, and that's a big angle here. Obviously, that horse has won 4 in a row, but this horse is looking for 4 in a row as well. Number 1, Collusion Illusion. Pratt rode this horse the last 3 wins, and here he is back. I like that fact that he's decided to stay put here. Drawing the rail, maybe a little bit of an issue, but considering this horse likes to come off the pace just a bit. But listen, this horse continues to get better with each and every start. Like Anita loves this distance at 3 for 3. Listen, I think this horse is going to be really tough to beat, considering you have, Flagstaff, who I just refuse to bet at this point. All that horse has done is burn money since the Count Fleet for me. Literally has burned money since the Count Fleet. Since I got on board with that horse, I'm done. So that horse, I probably just put that horse in the winner's circle.
Done, son.
And CZ Rocket, again, I mean, I nothing bad really to say about the horse. The horse has been running awesome. But I think, this distance, I think Collusion Illusion is going to pull off the upset. So on number 1, Collusion Illusion. All right.
I just got a text from Randa, and she's really pissed. You're talking shit on air.
Good.
Yeah.
She should. I'm surprised she's listening, to be honest. All right.
Like Randa is.
That's a big podcast there.
Yep, that's it, folks.
8 Breeders' Cup winner in Magic. You are going to have your hands full this week. Are you helping him with the recaps at all?
Oh, hell no. Just the just the previews.
Yeah, just the previews. So, yeah. Anything to add before we?
No, let's put a bow on it. We'll talk a little maybe football at the end.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
And then we'll take questions after.
3, 2, 1. Yeah. It's all the time we have to check out racingnews.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our Hangout products page with the products link at the main menu at racingnews.com to learn more. Remember to check out that all-inclusive wager guide to the 2020 Preakness Stakes at Pimlico on next Saturday, October 3rd, 2020. Features in-depth analysis of 12. So it's a kind of a crazy card. 12 stakes races. The entire card is stakes races. So hands full. Plus, you'll get bonus multi-race betting suggestions for the entire Pimlico Saturday card. That's not all. Get top 4 consensus picks from the expert handicappers at racingnews.com. Subscribe to Racing News Premium and get this wagering guide absolutely for free. Pre-sale has begun on our products page at racingnews.com. So make sure you go check that out. We're currently covering 30 plus tracks, offering free picks. We're on Twitter at RaceForDudes, Instagram, Facebook. Let's do it on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, etc. Even website racingnews.com. I was thinking about what you said about the golden hour.
The golden shower.
The golden shower.
Yes. Magic Mike did the golden shower. Pick 4.
The Magic Mike show is doing Mika Fitzpatrick just making just making
He's balling.
Making a difference out there. Magic Mike show is doing the golden hour late pick
golden
4
shower
Saturday. It's the last 2 races at Santa Anita and the last 2 races at Golden Gate.
Right.
Also known as the Golden Shower.
Right.
So make sure to go check that out.
Golden Shower pick 4.
Of course.
At Magic Mike.
The Magic Mike show, so go check them out. What do you let's see. OU. What do you think about OU this year?
Well, hopefully OU plays on Saturday. That's the biggest question right now. And we won't know till tomorrow if OU is going to play the game because Kansas State has a ton of COVID problems. As of now, we're playing. If you're listening to this on Friday, if you listen to the podcast version, yeah, we'll see. But I think they're going to be good. I think OU is pretty good this year. They got a better quarterback than they had last year, so that's always good.
Yeah, Spencer, man.
He's good. He's good, and Jalen Hurts is not. So
Jalen Hurts is not playing currently. What does he play for? Philly?
Philly drafted him in the second round, which is hilarious.
It's
a horrible pick.
Here's a comment. I'm thinking Tislaw finishes out of the money in the Breeders' Cup Classic. What are your thoughts on that?
I would not say that.
Training up to the Classic.
I think that's a good move for Tislaw. You look at his best races; they've come off extended, a quote unquote 6 to 8 weeks extended breaks. That's what he's going to get here. I think he'll run pretty good in the Classic. I don't think he'll go off the board. If
he runs, he'll be tough. I think.
Well, that's a good point. If they don't run him, that means he's kind of out of it, right?
Yeah, I think he kind of it's a tough angle to kind of go with because he hasn't done anything wrong. He ran a really good race in the Kentucky Derby and just got beat by a freak performance, really. So it's hard to say he can't win or at least hit the board in the Classic, considering there's not a lot to go off there in terms of what he's done wrong.
Before we get into too much more horse racing, Monday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be big. Chiefs, Ravens. Who do you pick?
Well, who I'm picking. The Chiefs.
You think the Chiefs will honestly win the game?
I think they will.
Yeah.
I mean, until Lamar learns how to beat Mahomes, I don't know how you call it a rivalry. So we were waiting to play him in the AFC Championship. He couldn't get there. So
what a shots fired.
I think he's, I think they're okay, but the Chiefs are better. So I think they'll win.
Do you think the winner of this game, this is kind of something I talked to Ricky about a little bit, and he didn't predict undefeated seasons for either one, but do you think the winner of this game's got a shot to go undefeated? When you think about, and his kind of thought of it was, when you think about the road home situation, it really doesn't mean as much. Now that could change maybe if somebody gets in the stands finally, but the road home is kind of, it's kind of all on neutral field, so to speak. Can anybody go on like the winner of this? Can they go undefeated?
I definitely think so.
I think so too, because of that factor.
Even like prior to, the season, obviously I kind of predicted the Chiefs would go 14-2, and that was kind of assuming, or at least second league in points against. So no surprise there. So
the guys threw one incompletion, but it didn't count because it was pass interference. Look at this guy. Look at this. He's going nuts. This guy looks like he's going to kill your family. He's so excited. It's crazy.
All right. Anyways, all right. That's enough of this. Get off here so I can watch my team implode. It's funny, on Thursday Night Football, it happens every week. If I have a guy, it's like mediocre at best. If I'm playing against somebody, they go off. It's happened for like the last 5 years. I feel like it just never ends.
You're not lying.
No, last week with OBJ, I had him on my team. Mediocre. He's all right.
Yeah.
I had that one big catch. That was it. That shouldn't have been a touchdown. That was. But other than that was it.
Mm-hmm.
If I started Fitz tonight, guess what? He'd be like 4 for 15 right now, and probably a pick.
Right.
This is what happens. So, what? Would it be good? Really? You're asking again? No.
Why are you asking that again? We addressed it already.
No, it would not be.
I think Rick James is on like cocaine.
I think Rick James
he was in the actual life.
I think Rick James is magic. Is what I think. So. Or
Ryan.
Oh, okay. That works. All right. That's all the time we have.
I think it's Ryan.
Ryan, I don't know. I don't know if he'd go with Rick James. Does Ryan know who Rick James is?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Jared Welch. Okay. We'll be back next week with more Preakness talk, of course. And, of course, talking about some of this Breeders' Cup, hopefully, some positive results here, and see what's kind of moving forward to the Breeders' Cup the last month of preps.
Wow.
Going into the Breeders' Cup. Right, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. Good luck this weekend.
Who is your Preakness pick right now?
Authentic. Yeah, I think I would go authentic. I still stand by the
Lee Corso. Good pick.
I still stand by the fact that he's running the race. Then
yeah,
he's good.
Yeah, Baffert's not similar. Yeah.
Oops,
I missed your first response. All right, Ricky.
What is your real name?
Yeah, Rick James, tell us who you actually are. Nobody's on now. It's like five or six people.
Yeah,
watching now, so.
But no, we said earlier that probably in some cases, win place makes a lot of sense. Obviously, when he's 2-5 or 3-5, doesn't make a lot of sense. But in some cases, it does make some sense. So
yeah, I don't think, and I think in the races where he's shorter, maybe just play a win or a win place, but don't play the show when it's going to pay 210. So just kind of gauge the odds. If you're like, all right, I don't want to do much handicapping, I'm just going to play Sias. Just gauge the odds and go for it. The amount of
James Rick.
Ryan is definitely Rick James.
Yeah. Well done, Ryan. Well done.
Good job, Ryan.
All right. We're out of here for this one. So
see you guys.
Tune in next week. Tune in for the Magic Mike show. Obviously.
I was going to say live show Saturday for Anita. I think we're going to do that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, not a bad weekend to do that.
No, so. I think there's enough good races. It'd just be kind of interesting to watch the big ones with everybody, So I think live show Santa Anita, look for that on Saturday. If you're going to Rivington, look for me on Sunday. I'll be there. The racing dad is going to be there as well. So
who?
The racing dad, my dad.
I was not familiar with that terminology.
No, well, I just made it up. My dad is really pumped for Remington. So
I haven't heard from your dad in a while, so I'm just happy to hear that he's alive.
My dad actually called me on Monday. He's like, "Hey, I don't want to go to that OU football game. Let's go to Remington." I said, "All right, that's fine," because I don't really want to go to the OU game anyway. So.
Twist my arm. If there is a game.
If there is a game, that's right.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm sure by the time this game's over, Fitzpatrick will be about 30 for 30, right?
Well,
sure.
Well, sure.
But yeah, good luck to everyone that's got bets going on this game, and good luck this weekend. Of course, betting via horse racing or NFL, college, whatever's happening. Basketball.
Basketball. What's going on? What time is it? It's the Lakers. I think are only like 20 minutes into their game, so we don't know.
Looks like what we're gonna see. We're gonna see Lakers and
Lakers Heat is what it looks like right now. But don't underestimate the Nuggets. With 29-23, Lakers lead.
Nuggets they're damn tough for sure.
They are.
It's funny when they came back and won that first series. I was getting a buddy of ours, Bones, who lives out in Denver, and it's like, you guys stuck by that one, and it just seems like they keep doing it, and even the last wins, like they just won't go away. So
nope.
But yeah, good luck to everyone making bets this weekend, and we will see you next week. Thanks, guys.